Welcome back to GOO ROO Beauty. I am Jodi and I have an enormous makeup collection and it is well overdue for a cleanup. So I saw Tati from Glamour Life Guru do a makeup graveyard series. I thought that was a fantastic idea just to go through products that I do own and what I think of them. I'll share with you whether I like them, whether I'll get rid of them, and I will hope to also do, with appropriate products, do a bit of a blog sale, and I'll figure that all out once I'm through with my makeup graveyard series. There will be quite a lot of products though that I will be looking at getting rid of and also selling, so stay tuned for that. Today we are looking at my eyeshadow. If you want to see what has reached its time to go and what is definitely staying in the collection, keep on watching. We have a lot of products to get through. I will just say that this does not include singles that I have put into palettes. First up here, this is an eyeshadow from MAC. This one is in the shade Star Violet, a really pretty cranberry type shade. I'll definitely be keeping that one. Next up, a shadow that was part of, I think this was the, what was it called? The Something Blooms collection. This is called Deep Fixation, and a beautiful deep sort of warm mahogany type shade. This one was recommended to me and it's beautiful. I will be keeping that one. Next up, this one was given to me as a press sample. This is an eyeshadow duo for brown eyes. It's a beautiful gold and purple set. Really lovely set of eyeshadows. I'm going to put that in the Maybe collection. Next up, this one from Bobbi Brown is just a matte shadow in the shade Bone. It's a very nice eyeshadow. I think I got this one on Loz Curtis's recommendation. She worked for Bobbi Brown for a while there, and I will keep that one. Next up, digging deep here, I have an eyeshadow single from a brand called First Impressions. I got this one at Sally Beauty Supply. It's just a sort of grey toned shadow. I'm going to get rid of that one. Then I have a whole container here of L'Oreal Infallible shadows. These are absolutely beautiful. Some of these shades are permanent, some of them are limited edition, some of them are only available in markets outside Australia. I will be keeping all of them. I love the formula of L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadows, just gorgeous. I will be keeping all of those eyeshadows from L'Oreal Infallible range. Next up, hiding here at the front, is from NYX. Actually, I've put this in my eyeshadow collection drawer even though it's a blush in the shade Copper, and this came out of my powder bronzer collection video. A lovely eyeshadow shade. I'm going to just pop that to the side in the maybe pile. Next up, I have something here from Becca. This is an eye color powder shimmer in the shade Satin, and this is what satin looks like. It almost looks like a dupe, I think is what I bought this for, of the Pale Barley shade from Burberry. This is how it swatches on my hand. Kind of looks a bit like MAC Patina as well. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. This is a shadow from Chanel. It's in the shade Hesitation, and it came out with a relatively recent collection that contained a lot of pinks and purples. That is what Hesitation looks like. I thought it was really pretty, just a really nice plum shade. I'm going to put that in the keep pile. It is a lovely shade and great for brown eyes as well. This one I reach for from time to time. This one was given to me as a gift. Urban Decay's single eyeshadow in the shade Green Goddess, a shimmery green shade, really nice with brown eyes, so I will be keeping that. Let's see, in here, this is an eyeshadow duo mineralized formulation in the shade Until Dawn, part of a limited edition collection. A beautiful, actually warm brown and a champagne white. That is how the champagne swatches, bit of glitter in there, and then a beautiful warm brown. Very sparkly eye, but a nice combination of colors, and I'll keep that. This is a little eyeshadow mini from Urban Decay in the shade Mushroom. Mushroom is just one of those shimmery, sort of silvery taupe shades. Bit of shimmer there. I think that would be beautiful with brown eyes too. I must reach for that. I'm going to keep that. This isn't going very well on the Chuck side of things, is it? Next one, another mineralized eyeshadow duo from MAC, probably part of that same previous collection, and this duo is called Gilded Night. Gilded Night has a lovely gold and then also a black shade. This is the gold shade here, again bit of glitter there, and the black shade, not very opaque opaque. You know, I never reach for that one. I know you can apply these wet, but I'm going to put this one in the get rid of pile. Next up, I have an eyeshadow duo from Hourglass, my only one, and this is part of the Visionaire formulation in the shade Gypsy. This is probably the most popular duo from Hourglass. This is what the shades look like on my fingers. Absolutely beautiful. I love those warm mahogany shades for brown eyes, and certainly very, very pigmented. You wouldn't expect anything less from Hourglass or for the price that you pay. A gorgeous duo there. I'll definitely be keeping that one. Next up, I have a whole container here from NARS. I'll just go through. This is actually not singles. This is just where it fit for me. This is the NARS Essential Eye Palette. Really beautiful range of shades there. I'm definitely going to keep that. It includes shades Unconditional Love, Night Star, Galapagos, which is gorgeous, Thunderball, Ondine, and Nepal. This is the Galapagos shade. Absolutely gorgeous for a glittery, smoky eye. Then I have a bunch of NARS single eyeshadows, and then I also keep my NARS eyeshadow duos in here as well. First up is one that came to me smashed, unfortunately, when I had it shipped from America. This one is called Ashes to Ashes, a gorgeous taupe shade, a really nice purpley type taupe. Love Ashes to Ashes, gorgeous as a really lovely smoky eye with a bit of a twist. Next up, I have a shade called Malacca, very similar to Max Club. You can see it's just got that beautiful green, just a dark base with a warm brown. It blends out to a warm brown, and then if you apply this wet, or if you apply more, you can certainly see there is a green duochrome there. Just builds beautifully. Looks gorgeous on the eye. It's one of those products that you can apply all over your lid and then blend out into your crease, and it looks like you've worked with so many different colors and done so much more than you actually have. Next up, I have a little mini of actually a bronzing product from NARS. This is NARS Laguna, and I find that this actually works quite nicely as a blending out shade. You can see a little bit that Laguna would work very nice as a transition sort of crease defining shade, so that's why I keep that in my eyeshadow drawer. I will keep that one too. Next up from NARS, the shade Lhasa. Lhasa is another one of those lovely taupey type shades, quite silvery purple. I'll definitely keep that. I then have two more singles. This one is in the shade Galapagos. I loved it so much that I had to buy the single. That is what Galapagos looks like. Beautiful, beautiful gold flecks in a warm brown base. I'll definitely be keeping that. Love Galapagos. I also have this favorite from NARS. This is Coconut Grove. It's just a beautiful pigmented, so soft, deep brown. I will be keeping those. Next up, I have my NARS eyeshadow duos that I will be keeping all of these. I'm not going so well at throwing out these ones, but I've bought them in singles or in duos for one reason, and that's because I love them. This eyeshadow duo from NARS is absolutely gorgeous in the shade Surabaya, Dolomites, a recent release, Cordura, Isolde, Habanera. I actually love these kinds of shades on brown eyes. I think they look absolutely beautiful, these light sort of frosty blues if you wear them right. Meliazine, a gorgeous shimmery purpley silvery taupe with a beautiful deep purple. Gorgeous. Bellissima, beautiful for everyday use. Kalahari. All About Eve, very neutral shades here. Charade. Key Largo. Earth Angel, with a beautiful olive green in there. And finally, Grand Palais, a beautiful rosy shade coupled with a silvery taupe. I also have a blush duo in here from Illamasqua, and the reason for that is that I bought it as eyeshadows. This is the powder blusher duo in Beg and Bronzerella. Absolutely gorgeous. I think I've done a tutorial with this duo before. Absolutely beautiful warm shades. Love, love, love this frosty shade. This is a beautiful warm crease blending out shade. I will be keeping that. Next up, I have a container here with Tarina Tarantino. This is an eyeshadow duo in Iris Plume and Moon Opal, very shimmery duo here. Amber and Electron. Jasper and Agate. Mr. Gold and Mr. Silver. And I think it's time to say goodbye to those Tarina Tarantino eyeshadow duos. So I'm going to put those in the goodbye pile. I do also have a Chanel eyeshadow single in the shade Trace. I think this was my very, very first eyeshadow single from Chanel. Look at that. It's very similar to the Galapagos from NARS in that it's a beautiful warm brown with a beautiful gold glitter through it. I have another shade from Bobbi Brown. This is a single in the shade Taupe, and I think I got this after seeing a gorgeous tutorial by the Bombshell Suite, one of my favorites on YouTube. It's a lovely shade also you could use certainly for contouring your face with a really, really light touch, but it's a beautiful pigmented shade that's just gorgeous for like an everyday smoky eye. Really beautiful. I'll definitely be keeping that one from Bobbi Brown. Next up, I have an eyeshadow single from Laura Mercier. This is one in African Violet. Now this I bought when I saw it at the counter before I started getting Laura Mercier palettes and didn't realize that this would be in every single Laura Mercier palette that I would ever buy at any time thereafter. But African Violet is a really pretty shade. It's like a purple with a beautiful sort of gold duochrome through it. You can see there hopefully in the light. Next up I have two from Illamasqua. This one is in the shade Moonflower. Moonflower is like a shimmery white shade. I won't keep that. I think I will put that in my get rid of pile. Next up is a powder eyeshadow in the shade Boomerang, and Boomerang is a medium tone brown, very, very soft to the touch, very matte, very pigmented. I think I will keep that one. That one would be beautiful for a smoky eye, very pigmented and buttery feeling and gorgeous. Next up I have 6 single eyeshadows from Burberry. These ones cost a pretty penny and it took me a very long time to come around to actually spend the money on a Burberry eyeshadow single. First one here is Chestnut, absolutely gorgeous shade here. That's what Chestnut looks like, just a beautiful cocoa brown, very pigmented. Next up we have the shade Almond. Almond is a lot lighter than Chestnut, but again, buttery pigmented goodness, a slightly cooler toned shadow there. This one is Antique Rose, a lovely purple. This gorgeous one is Rosewood. Rosewood is a lovely purpley style taupe. This is what Rosewood looks like. Next up, this is the one that started it all. This is Pale Barley. This is what Pale Barley looks like, just a beautiful shade. Really just looks finished without looking like you've tried too hard at all. And then the very last shade that I have from Burberry is in the shade Midnight Brown. That's what Midnight Brown looks like in the pan. A beautiful warm brown with a bit of shimmer. So you can see that's all my Burberry colours. They are definitely more of the purpley, browny, neutral variety. They are gorgeous eyeshadows though, and I will be keeping those. Last thing in that little container is from Chanel, and this is an eyeshadow duo in the shade Sable. Warm chocolatey brown with some very slight glitter in it. Absolutely gorgeous. And then that sort of very pearly white, beautiful duo. Someone asked about this mole. I have definitely had a skin check. Thank you for asking. Yes, I'm all good. I'm all healthy. I passed my skin check and I appreciate your concern. Okay, so that's my Burberry shades. We're just finishing up here with some shades that I have along here. These are all Giorgio Armani Eyes to Kill. These are interesting because they're very, very much like the L'Oreal Infallible, which are obviously a lot more affordable. The Giorgio Armani do look a little bit more complex and sort of marbled in the pan, but they really do have a very similar effect on the eye at the end of the day. So I'll just show you the 6 shades of these that I have. This first one here is in the shade number 9, a beautiful, beautiful shimmery champagne-y shade. Next up is the shade 13, a nice one if you want a really pigmented black. You can see how it swatches on my finger there, and then with just one swipe, extremely buttery black. We have a goldy bronzy shade here in the number 6. That's what number 6 looks like on my finger. Really, really pretty shade on the eye. This one is number 8. Number 8 you can see has some sort of peachy, pinky shades in there as well as some silver. Together, that is how they look on my finger. And then on swatch, really lovely metallic foiled shade there. Next up is number 4. Number 4 has more of a purpley champagne-y base with some warmer, more almost red flecks in it. And that's how it swatches on my hand. These two would look lovely together. Finally, their lightest shade, number 11, and you can see certainly on my arm. They're certainly very metallic-y, apart from this one black one. Very sort of foiled looking, very pigmented colour without very much effort at all. Very similar to the L'Oreal Infallibles, and I'm going to keep them. I know this is going to be a disappointing video for those of you who love to see me throwing things out, but I will be keeping those. This is from Napoleon Perdis. I think this one was given to me by a friend. This is the boudoir palette that has a couple of lip glosses in it. I have not used those ones before, and then when you turn it over, it also has 3 little eyeshadows, a purple, a grey, and a gold. I never reach for that one. I'm going to pop that one in my get rid of pile. Finally, some shades that I have here at the back. I just never reach for these ones. These are Napoleon Perdis singles in the shade Colour Disc 45. This is the shade 55, and this one is the shade No Shade at all. I think these came with gift with purchase, or they were given to me by a friend, but I am going to get rid of those. So ultimately, I am keeping all of my L'Oreal Infallibles. I'm keeping all of my NARS duos, my NARS singles. I'm keeping all of my Chanels. I'm keeping all of my Burberrys, Giorgio Armani's, and some odds and ends. I am getting rid of the Torino Tarantinos, my Napoleons. I've also got an Illamasqua there that I never reach for. This was not one that featured a lot of chucks, but then, you know, that's why I've chosen these and spent the money on buying these as single eyeshadows, because I love the shades. And of course, we all have different criteria for what we're throwing away and what we're keeping. And as a beauty blogger and a makeup collector, these are just products that I may not use every day, but I certainly want to keep them as part of my collection for reference, or when I do want to reach for them. So hopefully you understand that it's not just makeup that I am going to be reaching for every day that I'm keeping. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Makeup Graveyard from GOO ROO Beauty. I will finish up by letting you know that once I am through all of the makeup graveyard, I will be sharing my full final collection with you once I've added all of my new goodies in and done a bit of a resort and made sure that everything is in its nice new placement if I need to change anything around. So thank you very, very much for watching today. Hope that you enjoyed seeing this draw of eyeshadow singles and duos today. Hope that you enjoyed the swatches. Do let me know if you had any favorites that you saw swatched today, and have yourself a gorgeous day. Don't forget, you are beautiful. See you again soon. Bye.